Thank you for coming to our session host and roundtable host training. I'm going to go over a little PowerPoint on kind of the difference between the session host and the roundtable host, and then share some kind of tips and tricks. And then I'm going to take you through the Pathable platform and show you what it looks like from a session host and roundtable host perspective. And then at the end, we'll do anytime you have any questions or you want me to show you anything else. So we'll get started. Can you all see my screen? Okay, perfect. Oops, too far. So what is the difference? The big difference is the session hosts are going to introduce the session, like the concurrent session. So they'll introduce the name of the session. They will introduce the speaker. The Wakubo office will be sending all of the session hosts a calendar invite with the actual time they need to be on, as well as the bios for the speakers they will be introducing. During the session host will monitor the polls for any questions that might come up for the speaker. And then they will also thank the speaker at the end of the session and facilitate any of the Q&A and facilitate the Q&A session for the wrap up. So that's kind of the session host's responsibility. The roundtable host has a little bit more responsibility. They will kind of decide the flow of the networking session. So for example, if your topic is COVID-19, you will decide how is that going to go? Does that mean we're going to introduce, welcome everybody, and then we're going to go into breakouts, and then maybe we might come back and do some debrief and then go back into breakouts. So that roundtable host is going to kind of determine the whole outline of that networking time. We are also asking our roundtable hosts to come up with 3 to 4 sentences for the session page that lets attendees know what the networking roundtable is about. And then also create conversation starter questions or talking points for breakouts. We know that, we have probably around 3,000 people registered for this event. So you could have a lot of people in your networking sessions, and it will be hard to get a lead for each of those breakout sessions. So instead of trying to decide who's going to lead, we're just asking people to come up with some conversation starters or talking points that we can have at the beginning of the session, and then people can go into breakouts and talk about those conversation points or talking questions during, and then potentially come back to do some debrief if you'd like to. And then the roundtable host is obviously just going to lead it. They're going to welcome everybody and kind of let them know how the flow of the event will happen. So just some presentation tips and tricks for you. We want you guys to dress for success. Things kind of that to wear: solid colors, jewel tones, nice jackets. What not to wear is like dark colors that kind of drapes you out, stripes, patterns. We want you to be the center of attention versus what else is going on around you. And then some audio and visual things to note: mute anything in your office that might beep or buzz to kind of avoid distracting yourself and your audience. You can avoid sound feedback by wearing a headset if you have so. And then kind of update your computer audio settings so that the input and output come through the headset and it's your microphone. We've seen just test that before you go. Video: adjust your laptop or your webcam so that your head and shoulders take up the majority of the frame. Often this means like propping up your laptop maybe on some books. Check your lighting, because that's really important, and avoid having a light source behind you. Another little key tip is to kind of check the time that you're going to be presenting. We've had speakers who've checked at like 9 a.m. and it was great, but then they were presenting at 2 p.m. and the sun shifted and it blurred them out. So just kind of making sure that you're checking your lighting and your space around you, so that way you have a good camera angle. If you want, you can utilize the 2021 Wakubo Annual Conference virtual background, which is right here. You can get that on our speaker resources page on our Wakubo website. It is also available on the Pathable virtual venue site, and we will include it in your calendar invite. So when we send a calendar invite to everybody, it will have the session host prep deck, it will have the roundtable host kind of instructions and the session host instructions, as well as the Zoom background. So we'll make sure you have all of that in your calendar invite for when you need to sign on. Streaming: just kind of make sure that you're connected to a bandwidth that will allow for smooth streaming. If you're in a big household with other people, maybe ask them to limit their streaming when you are presenting so that no interruptions happen. And then, close all necessary browsers and tabs on your laptop. This will make for a clean presentation as you go. So now we are going to check out Pathable, and I will go ahead and share my screen.
Megan,
Okay,
can
so
I ask a question about presentation?
yeah,
Do you want a specific kind of name or format? Do you want us to put Wakubo in our names on the Zoom screen?
just your name is fine. If some people would like to put their pronouns as well, you can do that.
Okay.
Some people have also put their university, so it's up to you on however you want to name yourself. But great question, Kendra. Thank you. So when you come into the virtual venue, you should all have gotten an email to access the venue. If you have not, please email the Wakubo office and we will make sure to send you your link out. This is the page that it's going to take you to. Up at the top here, you'll be able to edit your profile. And when you edit your profile, you will be able to add different things. You can add your profile photo. You can change your password. You can update your name, your credentials, add a title, your company, description. You can add different things that you want to add here under contributions. You can type in your own, or you can add some that there are. And these are the popular ones that some people have been using. You can add your field of interest and your constituent group. So once, one more thing I'll tell you, you can also update your preferences. So if you do not want to get any email or if you want to hide your profile from other attendees, I would recommend not selecting this notification one because you will get emails anytime somebody sends you a private message or anytime the Wakubo office is sending out an announcement, those will come through email. So I do recommend not turning this one off. Once you set your profile, you will go to schedule and then agenda. And this is where all of the sessions are going to be listed. Right now we have it in chronologically by day. You can also view a calendar view if you would like to see it that way. And then as you scroll over, they'll pop up. When you're on there, you can also export, print, or however you would like to see it. Some people want it on paper. One thing to note, you'll see that the minute you sign in, it is going to update to your time zone. So it knows I'm in Pacific. So it will update to your correct time zone. So you don't have to worry about what time is that Mountain Time. It will just automatically adjust for you. You will see all of the sessions just all the way through here versus the concurrent sessions to some of the general session or entertainment, and then also the roundtable discussions. I'm going to go into a session right now just so you can see what it looks like and what it will look like from a session host and roundtable host. So you'll go into your session. In the session that you will be helping out with, you will see the name, you will see the speakers, you will see summary, learning objectives, and all of that, as well as you'll see this little chat box. Polls are where if anybody has questions for the speaker, this is where they go. And then down below are if the speaker has any questions for the attendees. So as you can see, this group has put some questions already in here. Files are if there's any handouts or presentations that the speakers would like the attendees to have. And then people is all the people that have added this session to their agenda. The one thing to note is that as a session host and a roundtable host, you get this little extra box called manage at the top of your session. And this is where you will join the green room 20 minutes before. So you would click into manage. There's just some little kind of information here, 20 minutes before the time, speakers will enter a green room. And this is when we will ask all session hosts and roundtable hosts to join is 20 minutes before. And when you get into the green room, you will have a Wakubo office member as well as a speaker if you are doing a concurrent. If you're a roundtable host, you will just have yourself and a Wakubo office member. This 20 minutes before the session is a great time to test your audio, test your video, make sure everything is great. If you are a session host, it is a great time to prompt your speakers to test sharing their screen for their PowerPoint presentation. Also, if they have any videos, it's important to test that to make sure that the sound comes through. There's a little share sound button that we need all speakers to hit. So we need to make sure that we test that. The office will prompt all of this. So you guys really don't have to worry about it. We'll make sure that all of this is happening. 1 minute before the start time, attendees are going to start coming in. So regardless as if we're ready, they're going to be coming in. So that's why it's super important to get there 20 minutes before so we can make sure that we are ready to go. When you do join 20 minutes before, this countdown will go away and a join meeting button will appear here. You will click the join meeting button and it will pull out into a Zoom just like we are in. And that's the best time to test all of that. If you are a Roundtable host and you feel like you want to do any polls, you don't have to, but if you want to, this is where you would add polls in the manage section. You would click on polls and then you would add new poll. So you can add polls if you'd like. As you can see, these speakers already added polls and some people have already started taking the polls. So you don't have to do that, but it's up to you if you want. You could also add any files. If you had your like conversation starters, we probably add them to files, as well as we will add them as on the session description page. So like for the Roundtable host, it will say summary, and then we'll have whatever little blurb you want to put here about your Roundtable. I'm trying to think what else. When you are a session host or a Roundtable host, your session is already added to your schedule. So you could go to schedule, my agenda, and then you will already be able to see your sessions that you are leading. So they'll be there. This also, if you set up any private meetings, any one-on-one meetings like that, you're going to see those private meetings on there. So we do recommend going in and adding in all the sessions that you want to attend, but you will also see your sessions on there. This gamification stuff is just the stuff that if you haven't looked already, you get points for doing different things on the Pathable platform. So over here are the activities of all of the different things that you can do to get points. And there's going to be prizes for the top winners. Some people are already super active, as you can see. So we encourage as much, visiting with the business partners and downloading all of the stuff and participating in polls and all of that to make sure your picture is up here and you're one of the top winners. I'll just go over a few other things about Pathable. Schedule meeting is if you want to do a one-on-one meeting, or you could have up to as many people as you want. So if you wanted to meet with a bunch of people, you just click new member each time. Once that happens, it will prompt you to choose a date and time. And when it shows you that, oh, Brad, go ahead. You have a question?
Oh yeah, going back to being a session host.
Yep.
And in the example you brought up, that is a concurrent session that will be offering CPE credits, which requires some level of engagement with the audience.
Mhm.
As I understand, it will be at least 5 polls taken during the course of the actual presentation.
Mhm.
As session hosts, are we the ones responsible in stopping the presentation and say, let's take the first poll?
No,
Or is
that will
that
be
the
that
responsibility of the
speaker.
speaker?
Yep. This you guys, the only thing you have to do, and it's in your session host script, you just need to let everybody know how many CPEs this session has. And we will be updating that when we send you your calendar invite. And we have we put the bios for the speakers. We will also let you know how many CPEs your session is available for. So that's what you will do. You'll welcome people to the responsibility center management. You will say this session is available for 1 CPE credit, and then you will read the bios of the speakers, and then you'll turn it over to the speakers. The speakers during their presentation will prompt all of the attendees to take the polls. There's 2 kinds of polls. So there's polls that, like, obviously these ones are showing right now because the speakers have put them in before, but then there's also polls that are not released until the day of the session. So those will pop up that day. So you guys don't have to prompt the attendees to take it. That will be on the speakers. Kendra, you have a question?
Yeah, so I think Brad and I are helping with a couple keynotes, and I don't know that like Tara Westover is going to manage the polls. I don't know, but maybe we have to talk about that separately if that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for the keynotes where we've kind of created our own poll questions and our own learning objectives, that will be a little bit different.
Okay.
Since you're interviewing them, I think, Brad and you can prompt people to do it that way. But the regular session host won't need to prompt, but for the keynotes, yeah, well, maybe we need to have a separate
Yeah,
call.
that would be great. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. We can do that easy.
Okay.
Okay. So we went over how to schedule a meeting. People, you will be able to look up any speaker that they have, and when you select a speaker, you'll be able to see what sessions they are tied with. So their profile will connect straight to whatever sessions they have. You could send a message or schedule a meeting if you would like to. You can do the same thing for the attendees. You'll be able to look up all of the attendees, see what kind of stuff they have going on, and send or schedule a meeting with them as well. The business partners, we have all of the business partners listed right here, as well as all of our exhibitors. And then for those that have booths are going to be listed in the business partner showcase. And you'll be able to go here, you'll be able to click on one, and this is where you'll be able to see their virtual booth. You can see TIA has done some fun things with an extra virtual booth that you could go into. You can see any resources they have, any videos that they might have. You get points for viewing these videos, points for downloading their sheets. And then you can also see what sessions they are connected with. So TIA is connected with, the keynote, a concurrent session, as well as a roundtable. So you'll be able to see the different sessions that the business partners are supporting. You'll be able to also talk to the business partners right here, see what staff members they might have, download any files, and then take any polls should they have. There are some times where there's business partner live office hours, and this is where you would click to enter their live meeting. Or if you just want to leave your card and have somebody connect to you, you can see that as well. We went over Mountain to Points. Service projects, want to encourage all of you to donate to the service project. You can read all about Fairview Elementary School right here, as well as donate. And then we've put a little extra, and anybody that has donated, we want to, do a special shout out and thank you. And you can, if you have donated, when you're setting up your profile, you can select the service project supporter ribbon, and that will be added to your profile. Get involved, just some different ways that you could volunteer with Wakubo. You can sign up to become a volunteer, but all of you are already volunteering, so thank you so much. Conference leadership is just going to do a shout out to all the people that have helped out with Wakubo 2021 this year. We're so appreciative of all of you. And then career coaching, should you want to sign up for career coaching with Karina, who's on the call, as well as Diane, you can schedule appointments with Diane or Karina right here. Social wall is just where we're asking people to get active on social media and tag Wakubo 2021. Anything that pops up is going to pop up here. During the event, our MC, which is Stephen Cox, might ask people to post a picture of their virtual setup or things like that. So just try to get active and everything will populate here. And then the help desk is really set up for you. If you have any questions or you want to learn how to navigate the conference website, you can learn here. We are having a virtual venue open house on May 19th. We're going to have our team of Pathable experts on the line, so you can ask any question that you might have for Pathable, you can ask there. Again, you can download the background, and then we've just got some other kind of information should you want to know. Here's the video, the walkthrough video on how to navigate the virtual platform. We've got some screenshots here on how to do some different things. So this thing is really just helpful and here for you guys as you start navigating. And then the last piece I want to show you is just the public forums where you can start a new conversation, you can participate in a conversation, but it's just a really great way to keep the conversation going. So I know that was a lot of information, but are there any other questions on like session hosts, roundtable hosts, or anything you guys need to know or would like to know?
Again, I've got a question. You
Yeah.
said we needed to write 3 or 4 sentences. Do we send them to you or do we upload them somehow?
You send them to the office. You can send them to me, or you can send them to the office, and we will get them uploaded onto your session page for you.
And then it looks like, maybe it's because my name is associated with the COVID roundtable that I can already do stuff to it. But is that only me who can do it?
Nope. Since you are the COVID roundtable session host, That's
Yeah.
why you can add things. You can
That's
add
what I was wondering. Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
nobody else.
I've already added all of you to your session pages. So
Okay.
you should be able to go in and hit the manage button and see everything. If you can't, please let me know and we'll figure it out. But yeah, you're all already as session hosts and roundtable hosts. Any other questions?
It's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty it's a pretty cool platform, you know, and it's gonna really hopefully people are gonna utilize it to its full extent and connect with each other.
Maybe-
Megan,
I think I'm not sure that was me or someone else.
I'll be after you, Teresa. This is Karina.
Karina. Is there a way to find out what you're assigned to be host other than looking at the list of meetings or sessions? Because I downloaded a bunch of sessions or I clicked on them, and so now I can't tell whether or not it's just ones I want to go to or one I'm a host for.
So I think the best way to do that would be, I think, Teresa, you're just on one, I think as a session or a panelist or one of those two.
Panelists. That's the only one I see on my speaker list, but I've actually said I'm going to bunches, so now I'm confused.
Yeah, so the way that you'll know if you are the session host is if you're clicking into one and you see the manage button, that means that you are probably the session host.
Got it.
Okay. We're not listing the session hosts on the page, but you do have the options to manage.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
good. And there was something in the chat too after Karina's question.
Oh, thank you. My question is about polls. It sounds like we have two definitions of polls. One is questions for speakers, and the other is polls as we might have experienced those on Zoom. So that was the first thing about polls and how do we distinguish between the two. The other thing is if we have polls, I know you've talked about preloading them, but it seems like if they're preloaded, people are already responding to them. Is there a way to preload them and hide them until the actual roundtable?
Yes, great questions. So the polls, the questions that people might ask for the speaker are going to appear in the poll session, as well as the polls that the speaker is going to ask the attendees. So they're both, unfortunately, in the same poll tab. I wish there was a Q&A tab, but there's not right now. So each session is going to have this enter your questions for the speaker right here. So all of those questions that come for the speaker, you're going to read right here. So let's say this person wanted to know, what is your, let's say, favorite color? Let's say that's somebody that they wanted to know that question. They're going to ask the question. And when that pops up, you're going to get points for participating in a poll. But when you come here as the session host, anytime anybody asks a question to the speaker, it's going to populate here in the very top under poll results. And so you will be able to see all the questions that come into speakers for the Q&A. And then if I'm another attendee and I really like this question and I really want to know the answer, I'm going to hit the little thumbs up icon. And then the most popular questions are going to populate at the top. So when it comes to the Q&A session and you're asking the speakers questions, you'll be able to read the most popular questions. Now, when it comes to polls that the speaker is offering to the attendees, I will show you some examples of that since there's not one on this one, but I know they have one. So as you see, questions for the speaker at the top, and then the polls are underneath them. There are two ways you can do polls. You can do polls where they're launched now and anybody can answer, and you do that in the manage button in the back. You click under polls, and then you would click add new poll. When you go into here, you do a friendly name. This is where you're just going to name it. The attendees aren't going to see it. You have the option for multiple choice, free text entry, and rate. Multiple choice can be either a word cloud or a list. Free text entry can be a word cloud or a list. Multiple choice can be a pie chart or a graph. And then rate's just going to be a list of 1 through 5. You can add in all of your questions. And then down here at the bottom is where you decide hide the poll until the session starts, so it won't pop up until the end, or you unclick it and they're going to be up live. So this session that's happening right now, they are having, some of these polls are launched right now And some of their polls, as you can see, they've got a bunch of other polls down here. They're not going to be launched until the day of the session. We're not doing your typical Zoom polls because it's not our Pathable licensing. And so we can't go into the back end of Pathable or up to Zoom and add polls. So all polls will be done on the Pathable platform right here. So all questions for the speakers will be here and all questions for the attendees will be right here. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question?
Yes, and you added another thing about a word cloud, and it doesn't say word cloud on there. So what does it say again? So this could be quite fun for folks.
Yeah, so if you're in polls and you want to add a new poll, we'll just call it test because I'll go ahead and delete this one. Under free text entry, it's going to ask you display your results as a list or a word cloud. So it's going to give you the option. All of the polls are going to give you what outcomes you want. So pie chart or bar graph for multiple choice, and then rate, it's obviously going to be stars. So if you want to do a word cloud, it's the free text entry and you display your results as a word cloud.
Great. And then the day, if we're hiding these polls, the day of, do they automatically turn on simultaneously, or can we sequence them depending on when in our roundtable we'd like to launch a particular poll?
Great question. They launched at the very beginning. So they're all going to pop up, but you can facilitate it. Be like, all right, please now, when you get to your, because they'll pop up and people will be paying attention, and you can say, please go take, and you could name them poll 1, right? Poll 2, rather, on here if you would like. And so you could prompt people, please take poll 1, please take poll 2 now, or however you wanted to say.
And then let's say we pick the free text entry and we want to show a word cloud. Does it happen immediately, or do we as a host, roundtable host, have to press something to display the results?
As people start taking it, see, you'll be able to, I don't want to take, or I guess I'll just delete my thing. So as they take it, it automatically populates, they'll be able to see it. So the minute they click, if it's a word cloud, it's going to pop up right here. So the minute the person takes it, they'll be able to see it. A thing to note though, if you want to show it full screen, you can go click into polls, and you could say this, view full screen, and it's going to show you, if you want to share your screen and show the full screen results, you could do that, and then it will show you, well, I picked the wrong one, but it will show you a full screen of what it looks like.
And our roundtables, this will be my last question, and hopefully some of these are helping others too. Are the roundtables required to have the 5 polls for CPEs, or are roundtables not getting CPEs?
Nope. Roundtables are not getting CPEs. Roundtables are strictly for networking, so you do not need to do polls for this.
Oh, we can.
But we can.
Absolutely, you absolutely can, but you don't have to. And I see Cheryl had a question. Are we doing the annual meeting via Pathable or Zoom? It's actually, it is through Pathable. It's on the schedule.
Yeah, I saw it. I just wasn't sure if how that was going to work for those of us presenting and all of that.
Yeah, so for whoever is presenting for that, you will be added as a speaker or a session host, so you'll be able to see the manage button here. We haven't added any of those in, so when you do, you'll be able to see the manage, and you will also be asked to join 20 minutes before the session, and we'll all be in the green room together, making sure we know what to do before we go live.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
This is so slick. It's the best one I've seen in terms of platform.
It's pretty great. I do encourage all of you to go on, check it out, and really get to understand it before we go live. I think that's really helped from an attendee experience of fully understanding it before the live sessions. Well, if there's not any other questions, please feel free to reach out to the Wakubo office or to me directly, and we can answer any questions that you might have. Be on the lookout for the calendar invite that will be coming to you for any session you're attached to, and we'll have a bunch of information in those calendar invites as well.
Thank you, Megan.
Yep. Thanks,
Thank you,
guys.
Megan.
Have a great day.
Megan.